Okay guys, just filled up with gas. As you can see, I've got about 60 pounds of gear on that back of that bike, and I'm going to jump on. We're going to do a highway cruising test. Now, the reason why I'm doing this highway cruising test is right when I got this bike, or even before I got this bike, I was online trying to see if anybody had done a highway cruising test to see how the DR650 did on the freeway, and I just couldn't find much out there. So on one of my rides back from the mountains, when the bike was still stock, I pulled over to the side of the road and I put the cameras on and then continued my way down the freeway explaining what the bike was like on the freeway. And that video got a crazy amount of views. It seems like there's a lot of people out there that were kind of curious as well to see what the DR650 was like at highway cruising speed, be it it's a 5-speed, not a 6-speed, it's carbureted, and there's so many more modern bikes out there. You know, obviously, and all the modern bikes come with fuel injection and a 6-speed. So that video got a crazy amount of views, and like I said, that bike was still stock, still had the stock tires, still had stock everything, airbox, all that good stuff. And then a couple of the comments in that video were guys saying that my speed was off, you know, because there's usually a 10% discrepancy with the speedometer. So the second test I did was I actually grabbed I put an GPS app onto my spare phone and ran a similar test, but to show just exactly what the speed discrepancy was while still doing that highway test. Now the reason why I'm doing this third test is since those two videos I've modified the bike. So let's just quickly go ahead and I'm going to list out everything that was done to the bike that might play a role in this particular test. I had a jet kit installed. I had the JD jet kit installed. I have the airbox mod done, and I have an Uni air filter. I have the MXE slip-on exhaust, but it's just a slip-on, it's not a full exhaust. Tires, I switched out from those stock Bridgestone trail wings to Shinko 705s. The PSI that there are today is approximately about 24 on the front and 30 on the back. So that's the PSI. What might play a role in a little bit on the stability or the buffeting side of things is that I'm running a Parabellum rally windshield, and I'll show you real quick. If you look down there, I've got the Polar Sport super motard front fender. That played a big deal. That plays a big role in the stability of the bike as we get up to speed. And then, as I mentioned, at the gas station I'm running approximately 60 pounds of gear would be my guess, camping gear and all that kind of thing, and I've just filled up. So I have the 5.3 gallon the Cherubies gas tank, and it's full of gas right now. So I forget the equation on how many pounds each gallon weighs or whatever, so the bike is weighted down, and I think that's about it. Now it's going to leave the GPS running. You'll see 59 over there and 61 over there, so 60 miles an hour, not bad. Now as we go into fifth gear, one of the biggest improvements that I noticed is, even though it's only a 5-speed bike, the jet kit and the airbox modification made a massive difference as far as what the motor feels like as it's working. You know, under stock gearing and a stock airbox and a stock carburetor, you know, 60, 65, 70 was no problem at all, absolutely no problem at all. But only now that I've like uncorked the bike, it's amazing how much this bike is corked up. But now that the bike is uncorked, the way in which it feels like the motor is working is way less than it was with the stock airbox, stock carburetor, and all that kind of thing. Like with the bike being uncorked, it's amazing how much more responsive it is. And then as you get up into higher speeds, the bike feels like it's working way less than ever, and that way it almost feels, you know, in a way of describing it, it almost feels like it gained an extra gear when you uncork your bike. So if I was to give anybody any advice on that is going to be using their DR650 for longer commutes, or they've got a decent commute to where they actually like to go riding, or they want to go on longer rides, is uncork the bike. Do the jet kit, do the airbox mod, you know, get a good air filter and let this bike breathe. By letting it breathe, it almost felt like it gained a 6th gear. So anyway, enough chatting, let's get it going over here. I'm getting sandwiched in. As soon as we I think after this light it'll open up into the freeway and we can really do some testing, and you can kind of see what I was talking about without me jabbering on. I'll push the speeds like I did on the last test, that original test that I did. You know, the 60 miles per hour, the 70 miles per hour, the 80 miles per hour, and we'll touch even on 90 miles per hour. And what we'll do is I'll try and make sure that you guys are always able to see GPS speed versus odometer speed. So alright, we got a green light. I'm in 5th gear right now. You can see if I need to, acceleration is instantaneous and makes a huge difference. Alright, I'm going to get by this van. I'm sure you guys are getting sick of looking at the back of this van. Mine, again, reiterating, the tires I'm using are the Shinko 705s. For those that don't know, they are a 80-20 split, so 80% street, 20% dirt, even though they seem a little bit more, I wouldn't quite put them at 80, maybe 70-30, give or take, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, those tires, they've been working great, but they definitely help a lot. The reason why I got them is my commute from home to the mountains, give or take, is usually an hour, just over an hour's ride. And obviously, when I was researching bikes and deciding what I should get, I wanted to see what it was like, what it would be like on the commute section of things to get to the mountains, because there's absolutely no fun in your bike beating you up before you've even got to the mountains. And then I guess another thought I was having is a lot of guys looking at potentially into these DR650s is with everything going up, prices on motorcycle shortage and supply chain issues and that, there's still a bunch of them out there. It's still such an inexpensive bike. They're great to modify, a lot of fun. It's an inexpensive way of jumping into adventure riding. So anyway, what do we got over here? Alright, so alright, let me come back down. Seems though we are entering the freeway now. I'm going to drop back down. Alright, on the odometer, I mean on the GPS saying 53, on the speedometer, yeah, so 55 on the GPS and 58. Alright, so now I got this truck. I'm in 5th gear. You'll see I'm gonna you guys can see on the GPS there we're reading 82, and on my speedometer we're just at 85, so GPS 80 miles an hour. But honestly the bike doesn't feel like it's working at all, and I'm sure you could see there from acceleration point of view. In 5th gear, stock gearing had 0 issues on that type of pickup. So now the most comfortable place for the bike to cruise is I'm going to drop it down to 70 on the GPS. Let me drop it down to 70 on the GPS. There you go, 70 miles per hour. Let me hold it steady at 70. 70 miles per hour is so comfortable now with this bike. It was comfortable before, but now it really feels like I gained an extra gear and the bike is working so much less cruising at 70. So if you're the type of person who doesn't need to go above 70 miles per hour and you're perfectly happy with that, and like I said, I'm running a decent weight of gear, you can do this all day long, no problem at all. What I'll do is, let me pick it up a little bit, show you. I did this in my last test. Let me get next to this truck, see how fast he's trying to be as relative to what speed he's doing. Okay, so let's just say, did this example before. GPS is saying I'm 58, so he's 58. I'm in 5th gear. No need to drop down, say I had to overtake, and I'll just open up the throttle and 1, 2, 3. You guys can see how quick we get to overtake. Almost 90 on the odometer, but reading 80 miles per hour, 81 right now. So 90 on my odometer. There we go, sitting at, there we go, push it. 90 on the odometer. 83, 84 on the GPS. But yeah, I just wanted to do this test to show you guys that once you uncork your bike, it's amazing how restricted it actually comes in stock form. And like I said, if that's not interesting, that doesn't interest you, you know, I rode almost a year with this bike with 0 modifications, you know, no jet kit, no airbox mod, and it was perfectly fine. I loved it. I was happy with it. It just, the first thing I realized once I had that done, you know, and the bike was breathing freely, is just how much more it had. And you know, I keep harping on it, but it's almost like it gained an extra gear. Alright, I'll have a little bit more fun with the traffic on the freeway for you guys, and then we'll sign off. But yeah, as you can see, 69 on the GPS, just over 70 on my odometer. And this is where I'm happiest the most. Like I said, just kick back, relax. Bike barely feels like it's turning it over, you know, there's zero strain, and we can cruise like this all day long. Alright, got a guy coming up behind me on my left hand side. They're going to be doing just over 70, and you'll see how easy it is to catch. Alright, so here I'm doing 70. If I needed to tuck in behind, so there you have it, guys. My third and final highway test, this time with the bike being modified. Hope it helps anybody out there that's in the market considering these. You know, be it the older KLRs, the XR650 or DR650. So far, bike has been fantastic as a true 50/50. Alright guys, cheers, have a great day. See you on the next adventure.